They can read it in the comments, man. You're Jay, I'm Ross. They get it.
Yeah. This guy again.
This guy again. No, well, it's been a while since you've been on the show. How long has it been since you've been on the Pagey train?
I'm pretty sure the last one we did was on Zoom, so it must have been 2020, maybe during the start of the pandemic.
Yeah, okay.
How was the pandemic for you?
Pandemic for me, up and down. I think I definitely got cabin fever during the lockdowns. So I had to go out and about. The spice of life had the bandwidth had changed, and that was a bit of a shock. But I learned a lot. So there's definitely a silver lining to my COVID experience. Yeah.
That's
Yeah. So pre-COVID, before I had you on the show, that's insane. Have you noticed? Is the Pagey train is very different now? Is it not?
Yes, you've got some small-statured people here holding up this table.
Jesus. Yeah. No. Well, they work very hard. They're working for exposure. That's what they're working for.
Okay.
Yeah. They hold up the table, and I promise that one day they'll get exposure.
They'll get to sit in the chair too.
They'll get above the table at some point. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Just not yet.
It is looking fancy.
Yeah.
It's a great setup you've got here.
Yeah, we're going, man. This is generation 5 of the Pagey train. Now I've got I brag about it all the time. I've got my hyper deck, which was really cool. Like I've gone out and done jobs with the Pagey train, because what I do is I just basically unpack the Pagey train and go and do it other places in different formats, different audience and markets and products. And I did a job for an insurance company like last week, and basically I had to use the Pagey train pipeline, so I get to march my little hyperdeck out there, make the Pagey train cost neutral by all the equipment I buy for it. I in some way use freelancing. Yeah,
I owe you a congratulations as well. I know that you've recently celebrated 100 episodes, which is pretty cool.
100 episodes. This is like 109 or something now. What we're
Nice
up to.
one.
Man, that was really cool. I always wanted to get to 100. I definitely always wanted to get to 100 because I know I've listened to a lot of podcasts, and after a podcast hits 100, there's something that changes about it, and it happened for me too. Definitely.
Are there any? Now I'm interviewing you, but are there any standout guests that you've had along the way, or is there anyone that you'd like to have on the show anytime soon?
Well, of course, Jay Knapp. He's someone I've always wanted to interview and have on the show. No, this is like your 3rd episode, but it is always fun doing an episode with you. But other shout-outs, I'd say Beana's a great guest. Recently, Britannia Flower, that was a fun interview. And oh man, there's heaps. Esky was a good recent one. Been seeing him out and about, you know. Really good one. Oh man, there's been heaps of good ones. It's just strange though, like ones that I think that aren't, the best. Like I've got other ones that I go, they're really good. Ones that I think that are just okay tend to do better for some reason.
People are full of surprises.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to measure what people like and what they don't like. But not that you try and target it that way. You just sort of observe it. But yeah, I can't predict how a show's going to turn out and what its reach is going to be and who watches it. We've got 6% of the listenership is in the United States.
Right on.
And 3% is in Ireland. Like I've got 3% of my audience is in Ireland.
Should we practice some accents to make those people feel more?
Oh, to be sure. No, I don't know. Is that terrible? Like, would we do that if it was China? Like, I got 2% Chinese audience. Would we do like an Asian accent to go, do a shout out to them?
I don't think we
would.
I don't think I would.
I definitely don't think I would. But
Okay.
I just find that funny. Like you can tell an Irish joke, sort of thing. I don't know. Maybe there's something in that. But I've got audience. I've got some in Europe, and obviously the bulk of the audience is in Australia. Bulk of that audience is in New South Wales, and it's growing and then it's going well. But yeah, I got the analytics. I don't know how it all works. Like you try to figure it out, but you don't really know. It's just you just see a whole bunch of data and trends and things that have happened, and if you try to make predictions about what would happen, I think it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell that. But it's been fun. It's been a fun journey to figure out how to measure the analytics of an audience and look at a market, because you've got different markets, right? And you try to grow different markets.
Have you learnt from anyone? Are there any podcasts that you listen to or podcasters that you particularly admire?
Oh yeah, definitely. I look at the number one podcaster in the world is Joe Rogan, man. The weird thing was I started setting up my podcast not knowing that he had a podcast, and then I started showing him my podcast, and people were like, yeah, it's very Joe Rogan like the way, because it's a 2-camera shoot. And I'm like, oh yeah, I noticed that. But the strange thing about that is I followed him as someone that put hecklers away. You know, like I like watching hecklers and how they get shut down. Mm-hmm. And Rogan's pretty good at shutting down hecklers, so I used to follow him for that. And as a comedian, didn't really follow him as a podcaster. And then it turns out like he's like this massive fucking giant. You know, we're all Roganites, right? Like, how many people do you know have a podcast? Like, there's so many podcasters out there. Like, I think when I started, there was 1 million podcasters. I think there's like 3 million now.
Wow.
Yeah. So I knew that I was ranked in the top 900,000 straight away.
Cool.
That's the pool that I'm competing in. But yeah, no, it's been a massive journey, but it's again, it's great to have you back on the show. So cheers, buddy. Yeah. We got our what is this? A lychee
martini.
Lychee martini,
and they are delicious. Very sweet, very boozy.
Thank you, Misty. She made us these before we came on the show. I've only got you for a short amount of time.
You do.
But what about COVID for you, man? What was COVID for you?
Oh yeah, it was a ride. It was a roller coaster. It was a dance. Where did we start? I was working in politics, just in the start of the pandemic, which I left, and I think I really dodged a bullet because I think there would have been very, very high demand for sort of government support and services. I think it really would have changed the nature of how that office worked, and I left that.
Yeah, good.
And then spent the first year of the pandemic looking for work. So staying at home basically when the lockdown was in place. Just at home, only leaving to go to the shops, going a bit crazy with some of my family members.
Oh, yeah?
And then found work, of all places, being a contact tracer, which was really interesting.
Yeah, that's right. You worked as a contact tracer, so you were like on the front lines of this sort of shit when it was all going down. Because now, it's in the hindsight, right? COVID's very much in the hindsight. There's parts of elements of COVID that are resonating and residual after
What's COVID? What? Yeah. It doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, I heard Biden fell off a bike today. That's the new thing. But you were right at the front line of tracking, and you got to see how it started and how it ended, yeah?
Yeah, well, it was interesting, and I'm probably extremely limited in what I can talk about. But
yeah, of course.
No, I definitely profited from a pandemic. Absolutely. It was a really interesting job in that I think I can talk to anyone. And I always knew that I could talk to anyone. I always knew that my communication skills were very, very good. But now I feel very comfortable knowing that I'm going into a difficult conversation and being equipped with the tools and being able to navigate a conversation like that, because you know that you're calling someone with less than pleasant news and you don't know how they're going to react. And it's definitely about having a leading conversation so that you get all the information that you need first and up front and then people can't back out of things. When you tell them that you have to stay at home for 14 days and they want to, you're giving them that bad news and they've already locked themselves in, basically. Yeah.
Okay.
There were some good days, some very, very good days, some very, very rewarding days. I particularly remember there was a outbreak in a school, like a special school, kids with special needs that... like it's like one-on-one teaching situation, that they were, violent, or they had all sorts of psychiatric issues.
Oh, wow. And
there was a lot of going the extra mile for those sorts of families, making sure they were well equipped at home to be able to deal with isolation, basically, and lockdown, and all sorts of behavioral issues. There were horrible days, particularly when would have been Delta started happening, and you would have remembered all of the cases started.
Yeah, when we used to do the case tracking, man. Yep. Case tracking, like, this is all crazy stuff. Like, we've got this all in the rear view. I remember when it was so real and so in the moment of COVID, right? Now we're not in the moment of COVID. It's past us. But it was 2 fucking years, man.
Yeah.
And 2 years of a whole bunch of different shit.
Let me blow your mind, right? Okay. So we'll just say that the pandemic was 2 years, right? So all of 2020, all of 2021.
Yeah.
And you think, well, okay, that was 2 years of my life. But when you think about there's like 7 billion, 8 billion people in the world, collectively, we have lost 14 billion years, 16 billion years amongst us all.
Oh, wow. That's pretty mind-blowing.
Right.
That's a weird way to look at it. But you suppose you do accumulate knowledge in that sort of way. Like a business will say, we've got 138 years experience amongst us all.
Mm-hmm.
And there's truth to that. There's truth to the accumulation of knowledge.
It was a rewarding job, but very challenging sometimes. My team, when I first started, we were working in something called exemption. So basically anyone who was coming into, I won't say the country, but coming into New South Wales, because that was our jurisdiction, that was exempt from going into hotel quarantine. So basically, if you were traveling into New South Wales at the time, you had to go into a mandatory isolation.
Yeah.
And so people that weren't doing that were flight attendants or military personnel or anyone that was medically extradited or legally repatriated, all sorts of things like that, unaccompanied minors. And so we were allowing those people to go home and basically isolate at home, but we would have to check in with them and call them every single day and make sure that they were healthy and had groceries.
But this is the start. That was the start of the... that was right at the start, so it would have changed towards the end, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. When the cases started happening, we, because I had experience with a certain type of software, then my team was one of the first teams that was brought on to interview cases.
Oh, okay.
Me, with no medical background, had to then start calling people, and because how do you react in a pandemic? Like you only have the tools, you only have the resources that you have, and we were just doing the best that we could do.
Yeah, it's amazing how the world works like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like whether it's a natural disaster, a war, a pandemic.
Yep.
You can only work with what you've got, and you can only operate within the systems that currently exist until that you can then leverage new systems to adapt to the scenario. And obviously things like that happen. Some things happened, some things didn't. The economical fronts of that. And I suppose that's a scary thing for me at the moment. Like, we look at what's going on, with the energy crisis, and we look at what's going on, politically at the moment, globally. And, you get worried. You get worried about the meal that we've just all had, which is COVID.
Yep.
And the bill that's yet to be paid. Like, there's $1 trillion out there that's got to be paid for. It's a big, big, big fucking elephant in the room. Like, that elephant is so big that it looks like a white room. Like it's that is coming. There's no way out of that. I don't know how we're going to get out of that. Like, they say that the Federal Reserve says that we not only growth itself, like standard 3% growth, because that's what we always go for as a nation, 3% growth a year. That won't do it. That won't eliminate the debt. So we've got to come up with another plan to eliminate it. So that means you either cut, you cut what you spend and change that. You still grow at 3%, but then you've got to cut into your services, or you find another way to make money, and you find another way to either sell stuff off, or you create products that are viable. You create workforces that create products that are viable. Like, there's plenty of examples of that through global advancement, but. Yeah, that's the problem that we're facing, and during a environmental crisis.
Yeah,
I think a cataclysmic set of events, potentially cataclysmic set of events. I think that leading into COVID, before COVID, we had the bushfires, man. We had the fucking bushfires. We had, and during COVID, we had the floods. And these seem like the COVID was a surprise. Not even that was a surprise. People were warning us about that too, actually. Yeah. None of this was a total surprise. I can at least say that. But now that's happened, and now we're into this space. We're into a different space of energy and cost of living, right? Because when that's going to be the thing that fractures even more of our society. We've already had these economical fractures.
Yeah.
And now we're having more during a market where housing is impossible. It's impossible to get into at the moment. And in fact, if you get into it, it's the worst time to get into it in the housing market. So it's the most expensive, the most crazy fucking time. Something's got to give. And I'm terrified that thing's going to give soon.
What I'm hearing you say is that it's a great time to hibernate. It's a great time for a nap, everyone.
Have
siestas all around.
Have a chill pill and chillax. I don't know. I know that's all doom and gloom, but I think I really am an optimist about it. I think we have an opportunity to advance, using like the climate action is an opportunity. It's not. It is a problem, but in any entrepreneurial mind, everything that's ever been built is in the solution of a problem.
Yeah,
that's what everything is built. It's a solution to a problem.
Great opportunities there.
So it's a total opportunity. Like we can, like you've got people like Elon Musk and people at NASA that are trying to navigate and go to Mars and put people on Mars, put people on the moon, right? To become a spacefaring civilization. And I can't think of it's kind of like going to do the big practical test, and you get to study in the way, and the study on the way is the environment itself, because we can recreate our environment that we've got here on Earth elsewhere, gives us an amazing power, This is how big this opportunity is to me. That's how I see it. I'm not a total optimist about it, and I think there's enough smart minds out there to crack the code. But I think there's enough dead weight out there to make us drown too. And that's what keeps me up at night. Is the holdback of all of these ideas, like climate denialism for the last decade.
Yep,
has not been fucking helpful.
Nope.
Look at where we are now. If we had more clear not guidelines, but clear parameters.
Leadership
and structure for people to invest, we wouldn't be in this problem.
Yeah.
But they had to relinquish their power as fossil fuel energy owners. That's essentially what it comes down to in a nutshell.
I want to blow your mind again.
Oh, go on. Here we go.
Jump back to these bushfires.
I feel really calm for this crisis conversation. We're talking about the end of the fucking times, right?
Me. I'm putting you at ease.
Yeah. But I'm just really calm about it. Must be in the lychee martini.
I think so. We had 7 before we started.
I wish I had 7. I think I'm pretty coherent for having 7 fucking martinis. Definitely, what's the word? Surly? It's definitely got the surly going on. Yeah, fuck yeah, mate. Yeah, fucking martinis, man. But we're talking about sorry, I'll cut you off. We're talking about the end of the earth, yeah?
Yeah, the end of the earth. So these bushfires, right? You think back to how bad they were and the response that it elicited.
National.
We had international. A-grade celebrities donating to the cause. We had Celeste Barber's GoFundMe, fundraiser that got millions of dollars throughout the world, sort of thing. You think back to how the impacts and the estimated millions of animals that lost their life and livestock and things like that. Mm-hmm. And so, did you know these floods recently in northern New South Wales?
Oh shit! Here we go. I'm gonna get pissed off, aren't I?
You might. Yeah. And I mean, have you heard about them recently? No, have they been on your mind? You've seen them in the news?
They're on my mind, definitely. I think about them, but I haven't got any recent updates about the situation. No.
So I know very recently they're in the township of Byron Bay. There are 8 shops in that CBD that are now open. There are people still living in tents. They can't accept donations because they don't have furniture to put these donations of clothing in. They literally have just grabbed a backpack and are still living, 14, 15 weeks on from these devastating floods.
Yeah.
In tents still. The floods have now been named Australia's worst ever natural disaster in history. Worse than the bushfires.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it has caused more displacement, hasn't it?
Definitely.
And look, there's towns that got washed away, man.
Yeah.
Towns got washed away. And I don't think because I haven't been to any of those places, but I've been to places that have been devastated like that before, and I know that it'd be fucking horrific.
Yep.
And people have got to rebuild and walk away from that and rebuild, or get their insurance. No one can get insurance anymore. But yet again, back to the property prices, man. There is the ratio of shit that's going on right now is beyond terrifying. It's really beyond terrifying, man. But I don't know. Could you argue, back in the 70s, man, we had the Cold War. We had, the threat of nuclear annihilation, mutually assured destruction. That's where we were at. Could you have been as equally as terrified then?
Sure.
That was a real and clear and present danger.
And uncertain. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so it would have been uncertain, but is it more uncertain than now? Are we holding a shittier hand than we were holding back then?
I don't know.
Yeah? Is it a shittier hand?
I don't know. What, war versus floods?
Yeah, no.
Climactic issues?
Man, because
there is war at the moment.
Yeah, there is, but we've had world wars, right? We've had major wars, and we've had you know, a Cold War that was even more dangerous than the hot wars that we had. Because if that Cold War turned into a hot war, you know, it's nuclear annihilation, man. It's the first time that humans face their own extinction. It's still a threat, really. Still a possibility.
Yep.
It's just that we know that we can prolong the nuclear fire just by negotiation. We know that's possible as humans. We've actually learnt something out of that struggle. And as well, like the space age, it all happened out of the nuclear arms race, you know. It was about taking out targets, but really it was, you know, rocket men that wanted to go to the moon. So that we got something out of it, but there's this negative thing that exists because of it. It's the same for me, I guess, for climate change. Like learning how to manipulate the environment. It's an extreme power.
Yeah.
And then it's something that we're going to have to do. Like we're in a situation now where I don't think they're telling us. I think they know that it's beyond you know, they can't turn it back. The momentum's gone the wrong way and they can't turn it back. I think there's enough data out there to suggest that.
Do you sleep at night?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, all right, just checking.
Yeah, I do. But I worry, though. I certainly worry about things, and I think about things, and I don't know. I try to keep updated. I try to sift through the bullshit, because there's a lot of propaganda out there. Everything, you know, we talk about the opposition's propaganda, like, you know, Russia's a great example. They talk about the propaganda, what the lies that they tell their people about the Ukrainian war, you know. But then you can easily, you know, switch from that left foot to a right foot, like for instance Iraq. You know, the Iraqi people would have been going, look at the news that these people are getting about the war that's happening here. You know, they would have been a propaganda machine as well. Like you got to, picking a side or being, you know, born on a side, whichever way you look at it, they're just as bad as each other, and they do. You know, we talk about war crimes and talk about, you know, things that go wrong in war, or things that go wrong industrially, you know, environmental, cruel people, you know, cruel corporations that have knowingly done environmental damage. You know, there's all kinds of worldly destruction. Like there's more. I think we're approaching. There's been more plastic in the ocean than there is fish. Did you know about this?
I'm going to blow your mind a third time.
Oh, really?
You're probably familiar with this, but have you heard of something called biomass?
Biomass. Well, I know what biomass is.
Could you tell your listeners what biomass is?
Well, like as in the weight of living material on the earth.
Yeah, right. So it's the weight of collective, all of the same things. So the biomass of humans, the biomass of...
Yeah, what is the entire... and everything that's biological, how much does it weigh?
So I recently learned that if you were to count the biomass of all humans on Earth, it would equate to 2% of the biomass of bacteria and plants on Earth. I mean,
wow.
I believe plants, but bacteria?
Yeah, I've heard that before, actually. I have heard that before.
That's crazy.
Yeah, totally. What was I looking up? I forgot what I was looking up. Was it biomass? What were we talking about before biomass?
I think it was the Chick Boom girl.
The Chick Boom? We weren't talking about the Chick. Okay. Why do you always do these misdirection things?
Someone has to.
Someone has to do it. Yeah, man. I guess I'm worried about the state of affairs of the world, man. But more so than I ever have been. Yeah.
Do you feel powerless?
No, I don't feel powerless about it. I guess, I don't know. What does power even mean in that situation? I suppose like you could feel powerless because governments are doing what they will do, and you can either participate in that or not, or have a low level of participation, or not be aware of your participation. There's all kinds of ways to look at that as power. Like, does the government even understand its own power? Like, people talk about the world governments or shadow governments or the deep state. I just don't think it's that sophisticated. I think it's quite moronic.
Having worked in politics, I know for a fact I've been to Parliament House in Canberra, and I know what is underneath Parliament House in Canberra. Would you like a scoop?
Oh, give me a scoop.
Can you take a guess?
Is it a sexual harassment thing?
Special call.
I know we laugh, but it's so serious. Like that's a pretty good guess.
It's a quite good guess. No, it's a parking lot. There is a parking lot under Parliament House. Of course there is.
Oh, I think you meant oh man, I totally read you wrong there. I thought you were saying I've got a scoop for you, man. Do you want to see I'm going to lift the lid on Parliament House. Do you want to know? Do you want to know what's under it? Car park. No, that's not what I thought. I thought, what's under the marble, man?
I tell this joke a lot, and people say either guess a bomb shelter or a brothel. Both are very good guesses.
Well, I know that there's probably a prayer room in the nuclear bunker. So, it depends. It's all on optics, how you look at it. Who's in that prayer room and what are they doing? Yeah. Could be anything.
Who knows?
Could be anything.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
I bet. No, that's what I was waiting for. I thought you had, I've got a scoop, but it's just a joke.
Sorry, I have no scoops.
No scoops. I thought you would have a scoop. You're a scoopy guy.
I do like a good scoop.
You do like a good scoop, Well, tell me... Okay, look, I've got a very, very serious question to ask you. And I know this may be emotional for you. So I need you to strap in and I just want an honest opinion.
Yeah, I'll brace myself.
Okay. So Neighbours has come to an end.
Oh my God!
And I was just wondering how you're coping with that.
I have a love-hate relationship with Neighbours. I grew up with it a lot. I really like from 1999. I was born in 92, so the Scullys moving into the street.
Good year, actually, 92. It's a good year.
Great year. Yeah, definitely remember the Scullys. They were the new family they moved in.
The Scullys.
The Scullys, Joe and Lynn Scully, with their daughters, Flick and Steph and Michelle.
Jesus.
Yeah, Madge died shortly afterwards. It was a time.
I love Madge.
Mm-hmm.
Who didn't love Madge?
That's right.
Everyone loved Madge.
And then I watched it religiously until I started working in a hotel in 2013, and I had to work nights, and I could no longer keep up with it. But I always kept up with the spoilers, so I could tell you who's who and who's related to who and what are the dynamics and what's the history and all that sort of stuff. I've decided very recently to start getting back into it, start watching it again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I've kept up with these spoilers, right? But they're all UK pace, and then because the UK Channel 5 was funding Neighbours, and they're the people who've pulled funding, and that's why Neighbours has now been canned.
Yeah.
I'm back to sort of watching it now Australian pace, but I'm sort of ahead of the game. But I've decided that recently Stefan Dennis, who plays Paul, came out and said, yes, all these people have come back. They've announced 37 returnees from different eras, and there's something for everyone. But he's come out and said there's a whole bunch of people that have come back that they haven't publicised. Because they want to keep it all hush. So
so it's they're not lifting the full lid.
Special, yes, and they haven't announced people like Delta Goodrem. Like, how could Delta not come back, or Margot Robbie, or a whole bunch of people, Russell Crowe, Natalie Imbruglia, and I don't want to spoil it for myself. So I've decided I'm going to stop looking at the spoilers.
Stop looking at it. Okay,
it
so you're actually in essence excited about the end of Neighbours, or is it a sad thing, or?
It's bittersweet. I am excited by where the show is. I think that they had a good run, but they've had an executive producer of late that's a bit ahead of the game. So you see a little bit more diversity. It's still very, very white, but there is some diversity on this on the show. They've had a lot of disability representation, a lot of queer representation. Recently, over the years, like lots of trans and non-binary characters, a lot of lesbians, a lot of queer women on that show at the moment. I'm like, good on them.
Yeah.
Yes. No, it's very good, I think.
Yeah,
and it's sad that we now don't have that on our screens.
Well, okay, look, I know this is a game that could be touchy. This could be a little bit touchy.
Do not bring up Home and Away.
I'm not... Why do you think I'm going to bring up Home and Away for?
It's just the next question.
It's the next question. Okay, so Neighbours and Home and Away are in a bar.
Yeah.
Who do you go home with?
Oh, Neighbours. Sign me up, Harold. Carry me home.
Harold, what do they call him? Jellybean? It was Jellybean.
Jelly Belly?
Jelly Belly? Jellybean?
I should know this.
Yeah.
I
always wish I owned Lassiter's for some reason when I was a kid. I'm like, I could own Lassiter's.
You would.
Yeah.
You recently came to my birthday party. It was a murder mystery. Did you know this? That it was originally...
It wasn't fucking me. I can tell you that I didn't do it. It wasn't me. Oh, there we go. Now it's got to work.
Here you are.
Yeah, no, it wasn't me.
No.
I didn't do it.
I wanted to make you the villain. I wanted to make you the bad guy.
Yeah.
But
I play a good bad guy.
I wisely casted the two acting friends that, I knew could pull it off and had the chops.
Did it work?
Yeah, I think so. But no, you don't know this. So the murder mystery, the game that I got was, based on I think it was like Scarlet Court, but it was like a cul-de-sac, house party. But it's going to be Neighbours theme. Originally, that was the plan. I was going to not tell anyone and get your dress as the doctor or the teacher or something.
I'd definitely go as Toadfish.
And then surprise everyone and be like, it's Neighbours.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I'd go as Kylie Minogue or something.
I'd love that for you.
Yeah. I love Kylie. Kylie Minogue's great.
Yeah, she's good.
Yeah.
She's a good one.
Yeah, I like
she's
Kylie.
Coming back for Neighbours. I hope they haven't announced how it's going to end. There's wide theories that it's going to be like a nuclear bomb that goes off and everyone dies sort of thing, but they want to keep it open for a revival down the line.
I think the nuclear holocaust is out then.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But my fervent hope is that with all these people coming back, that there would be some sort of final shot with like everyone's ever lived on the street, whether it's superimposed, but just everyone on the street that's called it home at some point over the 37 years.
Yeah.
Do you know that Neighbours has hired 30,000 people over cast and crew?
Yeah, they were. I think that was one of their big deals, is that they were an access point. Well, that's proven through the actors that have come through and the singers and the musicians that have come through it. So,
shout out, because it's me and we have to do a shout out.
Oh yeah, a big shout out. Okay.
Shout out to our buddy Wayne Tongues, who was a Neighbours writer.
Oh yeah, big shout out to Wayne. Yeah, he's actually a double shout out for Wayne. I believe he's recently released a book.
He has.
I should get him on the show to.
You should ask him.
I should ask him back on the show. Wayne, if you're watching, I'll give you a buzz, bud.
Yeah.
So you can talk about your book.
He was part of the team. He was part of the team that introduced the first gay character on Neighbours, which I think is pretty cool. Yeah. And back in the day, it was, all of these heterosexual characters could just have kiss on screen, but whenever the two gay characters, the permanent character and then the guest character, whenever they had to kiss on the screen, it was always in the background. It was a passing shot or, really quick or something.
It was very Gaussian.
It's never held it. And you watch it now and it's like everyone's kissing everyone. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, but we totally live in the future. And guess what? No one gives a fuck now, and no one really gave a fuck before. The ones that gave a fuck just had a loud, mouthpiece and a loud megaphone. That's basically it.
Shout out to my dad, who, when Sky kissed Lana back in, I think it was 2004, wrote a complaint to the network.
What?
Yeah, he was up in arms about two women kissing at 6:30 on television.
So he wrote a letter to the station.
He called. He wrote. He was.
What did he just open the letter with? Like, dear neighbours.
No, I'm sure it was for
I am unhappy with the same-sex connotations in your show. Stop.
Quit it.
I will stop buying fabric softener if you can persist with doing this. Stop.
There was also another same-sex kiss some years later.
Really?
Actually, there was a character on the show called Sunny Lee, who was played by Honey Lee, who went to my school.
Sunny Lee, Honey Lee. Actually, I have a home and away connection. I don't have a neighbours connection.
No one cares. No one's interested.
No one gives a fuck, bro.
Sunny Lee kissed Donna on the show. Donna was bisexual, but it wasn't said. It wasn't announced. Donna was played by Margot Robbie.
Oh, really?
Yes. And then no one cared. They kissed and no one really cared.
But Margot Robbie's pretty hot, though.
She is very talented.
Yeah, I know. She's very talented, but I guess my point is that especially in that era, man, if lesbians are hot, then no one cares. They only care if it was like two dudes kissing, and then that's a massive problem back in the day. That's just how it was, man.
We should also give a shout out to Neighbours sponsoring Mardi Gras. I think it was back in
Maybe it's still a little bit like that now. Who knows?
Maybe 2018, 2019, definitely before pandemic. They sponsored. I think they did some filming at Sydney Mardi Gras, but they had a float. Neighbours had a float with most of the cast on the thing, and my friend Holly, my housemate Holly, came down from Queensland to come.
Big shout out, Holly.
We love you.
When are you going to be on my show? Come on my show.
Yeah, come on your show.
Come on my show.
We came down and we went to Mardi Gras just to see the cast of Neighbours, which was cool. Apparently Kylie was there that year, but she was on the other side of the float, so we didn't see her. But I got to see Eve
I would have been
Morey.
spinning around, man.
I bet you were. I bet you would be. I got to see Eve Morey, who played Sonia, Toadie's wife, who had just died, had brain cancer, I think, and died on the show. And I got to blow kisses at her, and she saw me and she blew kisses at me.
Really?
Great. Yeah, I think.
Did you know it was definitely you?
Another very talented actor.
Either which way you're going to bang, it's you.
Yeah.
It's definitely
you.
No,
I know the truth. We know the truth.
We all know the truth. Natalie and Bruglia, I was always torn about that.
Yeah.
But,
lying naked on the floor.
It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Have you ever seen that comedy sort of sketch of someone doing interpretation of Natalie and Bruglia and the Torn song?
No.
You never seen this? Let me whack this up for you.
Okay.
Talk to me in the meantime.
What have I got for you?
I don't know.
Neighbours could have ended at multiple points. It started on Channel 7, it came to Channel 10. It's really huge in London, in England, and I think at one point 60 million people were watching it, a large proportion of the population, because it was just these beautiful people with pools in the background having barbecues in the sun, and those sorts of things just didn't happen in England. And it was like escapism.
Okay.
What are you showing me?
All right. Here you go. This is hold on. I got to make sure that Send this to camera. There we go. It's a treat. You're going to get excited. So he's doing his little warm-up. This is his impersonation of Natalie Imbruglia.
Okay.
So he's doing like live. Now, what would you call it? Performance art.
Okay.
Performance art.
I love performance art.
You see? So you get the idea. I should have let it go to the chorus. Got to get the chorus, right?
Yeah. It's very literal, isn't it?
Super literal.
This song makes me think of Blem. This song.
Blem.
Yeah.
Now, big shout out to Blem, actually.
Love your Blemming.
Our first intern, actually.
In the West, yeah.
Yeah. Come on, get to the chorus, man, bro. There we go.
It's the facial expressions for me.
That's the facial expressions for sure. Yeah, no, Blemley, big shout out to Blemley, our first intern, right? When she started becoming more a part of the team, like, oh, it's another team member, and then you always get that, you know, sort of moment when you got a new person on the team, and you're like, oh, is this person going to make it? Because you always have people that show up and go, oh, no, it's not for me, or they go, you know, let me control your Instagram account. You're like, no, I'm going to keep control of that.
How about you leave? I think it speaks to yourself and Misty, and, you know, just your abilities as leaders to, you know, bring these people on board and to inspire them and to help them realize their potential and encourage them to stick around.
Yeah, I suppose. She's a really good addition to the team. It's good to have different minds a part of the team. Because I don't know, I experienced that the other day with Misty, actually. She had to do like this sorting issue through Excel, and I could do the top end of it, but I didn't know how to do the formulas. I go, this is how you want to sort it. Then she knew how to do the formulas, and then I realised that's part of the cohesion, is like one of us has the plan, the other one knows how to execute the plan. Like, you know, on the vice versa, Misty will go, I've got this video that we need to make. I go, all right, this is how you build that idea, you know. And I like those sort of to and fro's. The same with you as well, like different perspectives. You've always offered a perspective, and that's the other thing about Misty as well, different perspectives. But you are certainly someone that's in my life that always gives me a different perspective, especially when it comes to arts. You know, I try to be, you know, I guess I'm a liberal thinker, you know, open-minded person. I'm trapped in my own biases.
We all are. You're not alone in that.
Yeah. But you help me reflect out of those. I get refractive reflections that go, oh, I can see out of the box that I live in. So yeah, you definitely offer that, and I really dig that, because it's a hard thing to communicate with people, perceptions and optics. And just original ideas. Although I do feel bad sometimes. Like sometimes you go, why do we do this and why do we do that? And I go, no, we're not doing that. I think we do it to each other, because like I catch Misty doing it to me, and I catch myself doing it to Misty, where, you know, we just take their idea and just burn it down.
It's not about burning it down. It's just about having experiences that tend to learned knowledge and knowing like it's. Let me start again. So you would go, no, we're not doing that. But then we'd go, okay, what if we do it? And then we talk through it, and we talk through the process, and we talk through the repercussions and consequences. And then we come into a place where we go, oh, yeah, we can't do that. And it's like, yes, you know it, but sometimes having that discussion and getting to the same place is worth it. There's merits there.
There's definitely merits in that. And by the way, talking about Made in the West, to get excited, we are open for submissions.
We sure are. Very much so. We would love to see short films.
I think we've already gotten 6
Nice
I think we've got 6 already.
Yeah, great. Shout out to Ali Saeed, who is our first submittee, our first entrant, by the way. He was very excited to be our first one for 2022.
Yeah, Ali's put in a few, I think.
Yeah. He's submitted every year for the past couple of years.
Yeah, totally.
He's producing partner Etiquette as well.
Yeah.
So he's
pumping
very,
him out.
excited.
Big shout out, man. Big shout out. It's hard to pump out a movie once a year.
Yeah. Let alone like people like Noel and what's his name? Sorry, I'm forgetting his name. Noel Vincent and Abel Robinson, who are doing the Dukes Amos. I can't say it right, but they're producing one short film a month.
Yeah,
insane.
Yeah, same. Another big shout out is Ryan Couchy. He's another guy that punches out a whole bunch of content.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Von's another guy that pushes a lot of stuff out.
I think Matthias...
Beana's everywhere. Matthias is everywhere.
Matthias, I think, is in Chile right now working on his feature of Campesinos.
Shit, man.
Yeah. There's some beautiful... I'm following him on Instagram. Follow Matthias on Instagram.
Yeah, Matthias Bowler. Check him out.
Beautiful shots. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the film was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Campesinos is an amazing film.
Yeah, stunning. Yeah. And also, you've just mentioned Beena, who's currently crowdfunding for her next feature film, her first one that she's written and directed herself from all sides. So if you can find that, please throw a couple of dollars her way, because she would very much appreciate that. That's going to be an epic film. I've read the script, and it is very
well, everything that Beena does is fucking epic in some way. That's why I love her to death. She is a go-getter,
and she's someone that keeps it
she's
real.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she doesn't fuck about, man. Beena won't. She's a very direct person.
Yep.
Yeah, I like when you first experience that with her, when you're sort of like new friend, new colleague, like, oh whoa, man, you're like you're a go for the jugular kind of person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think never overstep the line though. Never, always it's always cordial.
Yep.
It's always in the bounds within society, social expectations. But again, though, man, like, yeah, she's a wild one. I really appreciate her. Yeah.
I appreciate her too. Yes, so we would love to see short films being submitted, as long as they're less than 15 minutes in duration and feature a cast member, crew member, or location from Western Sydney. Please submit them.
Yeah.
We'd love to see what everyone's been working on.
Yeah, those films will come in, but like if you know someone that's doing it, let them know. mainthewest.com.au.
That's it.
Yeah, easy peasy.
We should also mention the online film festival, which we've got some exciting things in the pipeline this year.
Yeah, definitely. New framework for that. But watch this space. We'll definitely have more information out. It's going to be a totally look. Put it this way, Popper's got a brand new bag. Yeah, so it's going to work out. It's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of work, but we'll get it done.
Yeah, nice one.
Yeah, no, it's definitely open. But I know, like, the whole state of the world. Like, here we are, doing our arts programs, doing our freelancing work, trying to participate in the workforce in a positive manner, just basically trying to do the right thing, try to make your environment better, and the environment in more ways than one better, right? But then there's the impending doom. Like, if you knew that a comet was coming towards the Earth in 18 days. What do you do for that 18 days? Do you still plan the film festival?
No, I would go home. I would just hug my mother.
Hang out with Linda.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Big shout out. I like Linda.
You do? I like it too.
Your mum's great.
One. She is a good one. Yeah, she texted me the other day and said I was over there for about a week after a big event, and I had to take photos of a china cabinet and a freezer, a mini bar, fridge and things like that, because she wants to sell them. Put them on Facebook Marketplace, and then she texted me the other day and said, hey, can you send me those photos? And instead I sent her a selection of other curated photos, mostly selfies of myself, of me and her, where she doesn't like to be in the photo and she's covering herself up. And then she said, no, the photos of the fridge. I said, no, my selection is better. Good night.
Yeah. Have fun with that.
Yeah She's a good lady.
Yeah, no, she definitely is. But now you're all you got your apartment.
I do.
Yeah, man. How's like, because I know that I've been in your ear for years.
You have.
Like, about having your own space, right? Say this to a lot of people. Like, if you want to figure yourself out, you got to command your own space. However little or large that is. Like, just a space that, that's mine. It's built under my steam. It's built up of the energy and time that I put into the world. That's mine. Mm-hmm. Maybe rented, may not own it for indefinitely.
I like the space. I like living there. I love my housemate. We get on really well. We share the space. We occupy the space really well. I struggled a lot when she first started dating and was not home a lot, and I missed her. I was missing that quality time with her. But then after a while, I was like, oh, this is all right. Like, I get to put my own music on, and I get to just eat what I want to eat, and it's quite all right.
Yeah, because then you got to make all these decisions that go, what do I actually want?
Yeah.
What do I want?
Yeah.
And then processes. When do you do the dishes? When do you do your washing?
Yeah.
When do you pay your bills?
All that sort of stuff.
All that stuff, man.
Yeah.
Forces routines. And then you've got those routines, and then you learn to decide what you like and what you don't like.
Yeah. I'm the proud owner of a Dyson vacuum now.
Oh, really? What Dyson did you get? Is it a battery one?
No. Yes, a V7 handheld.
Oh, the V7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a couple of tiers up, that one. I'd love the V12.
Yeah, okay.
V12, a couple of grand for the V12. But the V7, I've got a V7. But the cordless Dyson is the shiznit, mate.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Very handy. Just does the job. Lasts for 15 minutes, but that's all, an apartment, that's it.
That's all you need, man. I've got both. I've got another, I think I've got like a V10 plug-in. So it's not battery operated, but it's the dog hair one.
For all the dogs you have?
Well, no, it's just what I'm saying is like it will pull dog hair out of carpet.
Oh, okay.
So it's got that much suction and power.
Yeah, okay.
And it does that, and I remember like when I was at uni, like we had this vacuum cleaner because you can't afford shit when you're at uni. You can't do anything. You can barely pay rent, and you got to eat staple food. And we had this vacuum cleaner that was 3 vacuum cleaners that had been molded into one.
Right.
You might even remember this vacuum cleaner. I don't know. This is back in the Derby Street.
Yeah.
This is 10 years ago.
This was
10, 12 years ago.
Your first home. Our first
home, yeah. Back in the day. Back in the tomorrow time.
I only have one memory of the Derby Street house. Actually, that's a lie. I have 2. One was in the pool. I think you had a GoPro when we were in the pool, and you had the GoPro and we were diving in. And
oh, yeah, I remember that.
It was fun. No, I have another one where there was music playing. I couldn't tell you what it was, but it was like maybe blues or jazz.
Yeah.
And I just had this very, very clear memory of you and Misty just drunk off your faces and dancing, and then like stumbling over one another, like falling on your knees and still dancing and like rolling around on the floor. Like, yeah.
Yeah, wow. Did it end up on a coffee table? That happens often.
I don't know. Yeah.
I remember at that house, it was my birthday, and it might have been my 32nd birthday. 3rd year uni, and I had to write a 2,500 word essay, and between 3 part-time jobs and doing uni full-time.
Yep.
So you got to manage your time. And I had to do this assignment on my birthday, as it turned out. There was just no other time, and I cracked the SADs. I was really sad. I was sitting at my computer. I was halfway through it. Realised that I could get away with 4 hours because I was very good at calculating how many hours it'd take me to do an essay or to do a bit of research and then the content component. I was very good at mapping that out. And I mapped out, I go, it needs another 6 hours work, and I've got 6 hours tomorrow. I realised I just want to celebrate my birthday today. Mm-hmm. And I said to Misty, because my Misty, she is a seasoned drinker. She can drink out most men that I know, and they've all tried to outdrink her in shots, and I just say don't do the shots with Misty.
Not worth it.
It's not worth it.
Did you say shotski?
I'll do a shotski after the show. Okay. Yeah, I can do a shotski now. Actually, I've got scotch.
Ugh.
Do you want scotch?
No.
Yeah.
Have some decorum, Ross.
I said to Misty, Misty, get me drunk. She goes, get you drunk? I'm like, how? I'm like, get me drunk. So she started giving me shots of tequila mixed with grapefruit juice, because I think that's all we had. It was actually pretty good. And I drank I think near a case of beer in a space of 6 hours, dancing to EDM music. Lived in an apartment block, my speakers were quite impressive, just to put it mildly. And hear this knock at the door, and at the time I was wearing aviators, my hat backwards, and a singlet, and a pair of shorts. Obviously, I wasn't just there in a singlet. That would have been a bit weird. But I ended up going up to the door, and I opened up the door, and there's 3 policemen there, and they said, "It's time for everyone to go home, buddy." And I said, "There's no one here, man. It's just me. It's my birthday." And the 2 female cops there, they were just laughing at me. The older grey-haired sergeant was more, scolding. He's like, "Well, you just got to turn it off, all right?" I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm turning it off anyway, bro. Just going to bed. Sorry about that. Sorry. It was just I didn't get a chance to celebrate
It's
often."
my birthday.
That's one of my memories from that place, was the police being called on me. Yeah. But I was making a lot of noise. I was being, rambunctious.
You were. You often are.
Often am. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, man. So we've covered the COVID.
We have.
The fear of world destruction.
We have. We touched base.
We've touched base there. Mm-hmm. Like, I guess I'm worried, but I go, the things that make me feel good, working on the festival and working on creative products, creating platforms, activating people, activating spaces. These things are exciting. I think they're good for the greater. They're beneficial for the greater good especially in the long term. Because we've had like filmmakers come through Made in the West over the last 10 years that are now in the industry making films. Yep. You can see the cause and effect of creating such platforms.
I mean, shout out to the gang here out west who
had
the opening film at Sydney Film Festival, and that was a team of 8 Western Sydney writers.
Yeah. And most of them had participated in Made in the West.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was most of them. 4 of the 8. 4 of the 8, half
of them.
Half of them.
Von Matthias, Bina, and...
I've only just got 5. I've only just got 5. We could have had most. I could have
got
away with most.
Get one more.
Yeah. Oh, look, just trying to be semantical and political. Just trying to get the best leverage I can.
Sure.
Yeah, that's what I want. Footholds. Footholds is what I want.
More footholds.
That's what I need. More. What was I saying earlier today? I don't rampage. I Ross Page.
You really do.
Hey, man, look, I know that you got to get on a train.
I
know I've got to do the promo shots, and I know that you're short on time, so I think we've reached the end. So thank you so much for being on the show today, Joe.
A natural conclusion. You're very welcome. Have me anytime.
Yeah, look, it was really good to chat with you, and I'm really glad to have caught up with you in person and hang out this weekend. That's been really cool. And man, I really appreciate your company, and I really appreciate you being the events coordinator, captain of Made in the West.
I love you too. I love you very, very much.
Yeah, good. Well, you guys have been watching the Pagey Train. You can check us out on Spotify, video on Spotify, in fact, or you can check us out on YouTube, and don't forget to subscribe. And you can also find us on iHeartRadio and Apple iTunes, basically anywhere you can find podcasts. You've been watching the Pagey Train, and we'll see you next time. There we go, man.
Well done, Rozzy. That was great.
Yeah, well, it's different now, isn't it?
It's a lovely feeling.
It's a lovely feeling?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
It's a bit slow today.
I miss
a bit low on energy.
I miss the people with the palm leaves.